What do you think of the developments in Western Canadian cities like Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton? Are you happy with what you see so far? Do you think that politicians understand that they need to do mass transit?
We have elements of both hope and despair at the same time. Canada has been a country that has often accommodated differences, French versus English, Protestant versus Catholic religions. Canada has had a tradition of what some sociologists call two solitudes, having differences and agreeing to disagree. So when it comes to urban development, we have neighborhoods like the one that we're talking in now, which are very dense, where people like me live without a car and can go for weeks at a time in downtown Vancouver, walking to work, getting everything we need done on foot, taking buses and public transportation. And we also have neighborhoods that are no different from some of the American suburbs where you can't get anywhere without a car. So we have elements of success and failure. The luxury that Canada has had with its economy and its resources has been that we can have both. We've been able to have our cake and eat it too. That's going to change. And some of our political leaders are more prepared than others to recognize that change. I think Canada will change more quickly as the U.S. recognizes the need to change as well. Both Calgary and Vancouver are cities that I've lived in without automobiles, and it is possible to do that and have a very successful, satisfying life.
One last question. This book that you and Dr. Richard Gilbert co-authored, how long did it take you to write that book?
Well, the work that we did builds on 10 years of research collaboration in Canada's Centre for Sustainable Transportation. It took about 2 years to actually pull it all together and write the book, and we're not done yet. We hope that the book will have a second edition. It's turned out to be more popular than the publisher predicted. We're also hoping that there will be a paperback edition to bring the book within reach of people who can afford it. We tell people that the book is still cheaper than the price of a barrel of oil, and it's going to stay that way given the way energy prices are going.
In terms of Vancouver now, you have become some kind of celebrity. People are quoting you on this book. What impact do you think you're having on the debate on transportation and urban planning issues?
Well, I understand that the local transit authority, TransLink, is seriously considering expanding its electric bus system. We have an electric bus system. We're one of the few cities in North America that does. You can count them on one hand, the ones that still run electric buses. They're not a panacea. They won't solve everything, but they are a lot cheaper than building rapid rail subway type systems like in Singapore, the MTR. And we won't have the time and the money to build enough electric transportation underground and with rail. We're going to need buses. So the transit system has been listening, and they're seriously thinking about extending and expanding electric buses, which will be very useful for people who live in places now where there is no way to get there without using oil. I think the world is going to be divided very soon into places where you can get to and get around without oil, not always, but at least sometimes, and places where you can't. And the places where there is no way to get there or get around without using oil are going to have a much more difficult future than the ones that do have alternatives. So Vancouver is blessed with being a port city. Ships can use much less oil, as we have on the cover of our book. There are technologies, towing kites. One European company is known as SkySail. That can reduce fuel consumption by ship 50%, as much as 50%. When you get to the land, you need to have an electric transportation alternative to move the people and the goods. And Vancouver has at least electric buses and one electric train system. So Singapore has an electric train and light rail system. Those are going to serve those respective cities very well. Places that are in the middle of landlocked areas that don't have good water transportation and that don't have electric rail or bus are going to be in a much more difficult future, and we'll have to make even bigger changes to try and stay connected to the rest of the world.
On that note, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Perl.
You're very welcome. Thank you.